We did it. We're here.
That was the greatest intro ever because there was no music, and I was like telling Alex the entire time, like, dude, this music's banging right now. And you're like, oh, what is it? And it wasn't coming through. Alex, welcome. How are you?
Hi. I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. This is Game Bites Podcast, the world's greatest gaming podcast, copyright pending. It is Saturday, the 28th of August, 2023. And
it's January.
Did I say January? What did I say?
You said August.
Oh. What is wrong with my brain?
All right, we'll just we'll scrap this launch and we'll do this again tomorrow.
All right,
thanks for coming, guys.
Yeah. Repeat. Yeah. Anyways, it's January 28th, 2023, and according to my cell phone, Alex, you have a child.
No, my gosh. So does my friend, honestly. No, the two weddings did not lead to a baby born in less than 3 weeks, and now, surprisingly, 9 months old. No, that didn't happen.
Mysterious man month. You could have multiple weddings, but it still takes 9 months to make a baby. So, yeah. Oh, is that so? Yeah, I mean, you were hanging out with a friend today. Is that just a friend from California?
Yeah, I met this couple at a concert, on a rooftop concert in San Francisco last May. And since then, like, we've gone to a bunch of concerts together and everything, and I hang out with their baby, and they watch my bunnies, and when I'm in the Philippines, stuff like that, just normal concert goer stuff.
Yeah, that's all of my babysitters have come from my concert experiences.
Yeah, and they take care of your animals when you're in another country.
Yeah, that's pretty normal, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so like everything's normal here, including like my testosterone levels and my hair growth. Everything is normal. Okay.
Is that a reference to me, or is something going on with you, or?
No, both of us. We're fine.
Yeah, I mean,
it's August.
I mean, August. Yeah, that's the byproduct of the new medication they put me on. I have found out that the medication they put me on, multiple athletes are banned from participating because they basically get disqualified for trying to quote unquote dope with it. But for me, it's totally
dope. Is dope.
I'm not an athlete, and I'm taking full advantage of it. It is crazy how.
Yeah, that's why you were kicked out of the Steelers tryouts last week, because they found out you were juicing. You were trying to do like Invincible, but it just they quickly scrapped the whole thing because they realized how much you're taking. It was crazy.
It was that. It was that, and because I put on boxing gloves and started like punching people. You know, I thought if Najee Harris is allowed a stiff arm, what if I just punch? You know, and
save that for the bars in downtown, down the south side. That's where that normally happens. I don't know how you got the two confused.
Well, you know, it's August, so
it's
it's the juice. Oh my gosh. Anyways, it's January, and it's been an exciting week so far. There's been some crazy stuff happening. I know the beginning of this month there was nothing. It was very dead, and frankly, I couldn't do an episode last week. My gosh. Someone needs to punch me in the head.
I'll host. Tell me what to say.
Alex, you read all the news articles. You go. Alex, how was your
Gentlemen
week?
And ladies, it is 2025. We made it.
This is the greatest intro ever for the greatest podcast ever. There's a lot of news happening. It was a slow start, and now there's been a lot of things. Did you get a chance to pay attention to anything I put on the Game Bites spreadsheet?
Oh, so we're doing game beats now? My favorite game beats. Man, the Ocarina of Time soundtrack takes me back, but Breath of the Wild hit differently. Other game beats, man, I could talk for 4 hours about Kingdom Hearts. If you want to go straight into melody. Chain of Melody? Yeah. But we can head back to game bites too.
Yeah, I'm going to blame the drugs. So.
This is going to be so interesting. I'm so excited.
Yeah. For those listening, it's nothing hallucinogenic. It's just it's a properly prescribed medication that is helping out with chronic problems. But all that aside, I mean, did you read the spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay. There's been a lot of crazy stuff happening, and I know. Razor, is that a question?
No, it was a very long list, and I was like reading it off to my friend when he was like, "What do you do every weekend?" I was like, a gaming podcast, and he called me a nerd, and then he told me to put down the baby, and now I'm back home, and not at my house. No, it was a lot of stuff on this list. A lot of stuff about remakes, a lot of stuff about backwards compatibility, I think.
Yeah.
You know what? I was excited. Nothing on the list this week had anything to do with the acquisition of Activision.
I almost put something on the list because there is something new that did come out with that, but that's a
No,
good transition.
we'll save it for next week, just in case it's a dry week.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it since that was a perfect transition. It's not on the list, but you brought it for you. So yeah, starting off this week, something that did come out is essentially the European Union and the UK CMA. I'm not sure if it was the UK CMA, but the EU apparently was close to essentially making a deal with Xbox and Activision regarding the merger. So essentially the merger, But because of that, the FTC was talking to the EU, their legal counterparts across the big pond, hop, skip, and a jump, and you're in August. But they basically found out that they were close to making a deal, and that pushed the FTC to launch their lawsuit. So they kind of knew that this is their only opportunity, and they went ahead with it pretty quickly. So that's the only real big change. That there was just some development in terms of why the FTC acted when they did. It's because they realized if the EU makes their deal, then they're not really going to have much of an argument to move forward with any type of legal argument either. So that's it. Yeah. So it's like calling up your buddy like, hey, what are you doing? You're like, I don't know. I might go do this. I'm like, oh, I guess I should do that then.
I'm going to probably do it too then.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah. Josie. Joni loves Chachi. Okay, so that's it. We'll stop that. Yeah. Actually, no, there was something else from the European Union. I'm not going to talk about that, though.
There was another thing on there about the EU. I'm going to find it.
Yeah, the European Union is cracking down on loot boxes. It's not really sure how.
I think that's important news, actually.
Yeah.
I think that.
I agree
the
completely.
EU Parliament cracks down on game loot boxes, a predatory tactic by video game companies to make children spend money in video games and spend all their parents' money, and it's essentially legalized gambling for underage people. Well, it's an unregulated market for gambling, pretty much.
Oh, 100%. I am a big believer in having something set up for the common good, and in this situation, I just don't think it's for the common good at all. Like it's like you should prevent this from happening. It's ruining arcades. Did I tell you I go to the boardwalk every year down at the Jersey Shore? I get a hoagie, go slap Kevin Smith in the face. Yeah, Wildwood every year. Every year. We're going for 2 weeks this summer too. Anyways,
what's going on in arcades?
The boardwalk arcades. They're no more. It used to be Pac-Man, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, freaking House of the Dead, Time Crisis, or even new stuff. Claws were always there. I like claws, but
they used to be there. Are they still there?
They're still there. But every single everything I just mentioned gone. Every arcade on the boardwalk is just all the same. It's hey, this isn't really a slot machine. It gives you tickets. But it's just a slot machine. And it's all games like that. Games of chance that you can win a not real currency that you can then trade in for some type of prize, which like Chuck E. Cheese did that. But I feel like Chuck E. Cheese still had some type of skill and fun involved. All these games I kid you. Yeah. All these games are just, they're practically slot machines for children. And it's disgusting to see.
Yeah.
Kids love it though.
Get them while they're young. That's their tagline.
That's actually the name of the arcade.
Yeah. Get them.
Oh man, that'd be a red flag. Yeah. So to your point,
I mean, that's what the EU thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
Yeah. Fortnite's a good example of this. There are so many games that have really. I mean, I think Fortnite got a lawsuit crackdown a couple weeks ago where they basically had to pay back like $500 million, and it was like, yeah, that's nothing for us or something like that.
Yeah, that fell out of their trunk when they hit a speed bump. They didn't care. It was like a
big sneeze, not even a big sneeze. It was like, achoo. I'm fine. No, it's okay. Yeah, take it. I don't need it. But it's ruining games in my opinion, because it takes a less of a prioritization away from making good and fun game design, and more of a prioritization of kind of hijacking the parts of our brain that enjoy that and see that aspect of chance. It takes over as the primary form of entertainment, right?
Yeah, because then the primary form of engagement at that point is building up enough fake currency to open another chest to hopefully get something good, until you finally get something good, and then you get endorphins, and then the loop repeats. That's
Yeah.
the engagement, not the enjoyment anymore.
Yeah, and you know, when you play a game like Super Mario Brothers, I always talk about this. The reason why Super Mario, when they were making
You
it,
always talk about it. You bring it up at dinner. You
yeah.
bring it up when we're parking the car at the restaurant. It's just always bring it up.
Last night, 2 a.m., I said, honey, I just had this thought about
Mario.
Luigi.
Listen,
It was Luigi.
listen.
Yeah. But like when they were making Super Mario, they were making a game. It's like, okay, we're going to make a game where it's gore-oriented. It's a platformer. We're going to give you entertainment that way. And they go, well, how can we make it more fun? Well, we'll put these types of enemies in it. Well, what else can we do? Oh, we'll put blocks on it and bricks that you can hit. You know, well, what do you get? You get points. What else? We'll put coins in between. So when you're in between all those other obstacles we just mentioned, you have something else to do. So the brain responds in a similar way to that as it does towards a loot box. But to me, it comes down to like a ordered versus disordered use of that natural part of us, right? And like I think Mario is a game that does it in a ordered way, a way that's oriented towards good entertainment, where what we're talking about and what the EU wants to crack down is a disordered manipulation of something that could be a good, but they're just hijacking the brain to like waste our money on things that don't matter. Ubisoft's a big culprit of this behavior.
I mean, we talked about that I think 2 weeks ago. I talked about a lot of their games being focused around microtransactions at that point, and oh look, they're suffering nowadays because a lot of people aren't receptive to that tactic, and young kids aren't buying these games that aren't first-person shooters and spending all the money. But yeah, and now they're struggling and shutting down games. They're not even announced yet and stuff like that. Take quality away and switch to loot boxing, then
I am imagining a new sport where people just punch each other with loot. You know,
loot boxing.
Yeah.
So isn't a loot an instrument? You can just box with a loot.
There might be some blood, but you know, just watch out where you put that reed. I think they have reeds. I know a lot of the wind instruments have reeds, like oboes.
A lute? Isn't that a type of guitar?
You're right.
We should look this up before we,
Yeah, you're right. It's the medieval predecessor to the guitar. I'm an idiot. I have
like a little, halfway between a guitar and a banjo kind of thing.
There's like a 50% chance I have an ancestor.
Like
an
English ukulele.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I'm for shamed. I can't call myself a string instrument musician anymore. So, yeah, I'm hopeful that this is something that is effective. EU is not the biggest market for most game makers, but it's a big market. And I think if it happens there, as we've seen with other technology spaces, with Apple specifically, Apple got sued by the EU because of their proprietary charger technology. And now they're being forced to switch to the USB-C by them. And because of that, they're just going to say, well, hey, we're just going to do this everywhere else for production reasons, right? Games in game design is a little different than that. There's opportunity to be more dynamic with what your game is like where you launch it. But the reality is I still think resources and production factors will possibly force them to make a more universal experience.
Yeah.
You know, and
they're not going to cut their product out of entire markets just to capitalize on microtransactions in one of them.
Yeah.
Unless you're Japan, because that's pretty easy to do. I think gacha games is like the biggest moneymaker in Japan. So
well, that's Konami right now. Konami stopped making
and
games.
Bandai.
Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of them.
Keep messing with my wedding ring because it's stuck. My knuckles are swollen from all this loot boxing. But yeah, games cost so much to make as well that I think that could be a factor that makes them go, hey, if we're gonna launch this in Europe like this, we might as well just we might as well focus our design, you know, on this approach everywhere else. And I'm hopeful for that. So, you know, good on them. I'm not going to make any comment about any effectiveness coming from our place. I'll just call it that. I'm not even going to name the country. But I think something in general should happen overall to protect people because children aren't developed enough to know really what the full consequences are of what they're doing. And we know for a fact that people like Mark Zuckerberg and a lot of these other companies talked about, oh, well, they had a word for it, but like, yeah, this is basically one of our consumers. And they defined it like you do in a lot of marketing sessions where it's like, he's a kid who has access to his mom's credit card and he's going to have, you know, and it's kind of a, not only is it scummy, I think it should be an illegal practice to target that type of scenario. So,
yeah. Especially with those ESRB ratings
Mm-hmm.
Do absolutely nothing to affect how or who ends up with the actual product and playing with it. There's no real regulation there. I mean, parents buy games for their kids all the time. It's just.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, no, it's just. I'm just saying, even if they're like this game's only for adults because it has game, like putting AO ratings on games if they have gambling elements in it. I mean, that seems like an easy way to quickly get rid of this because AO games just don't sell. Like they won't. That seems like an easy fix rather than trying to get to all the nitty gritty of what exactly is it microtransaction or gambling in the games.
Yeah,
But, I don't know. Just the AO rating, it's already there.
Certain stores won't carry it, probably.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It seems like a way to deal with this.
Yeah. I mean, the ESRB is a self-regulating body. So for them to make any desire of change, there has to be a pressure outside of themselves to say they should change, which is how we got the ESRB in the first place.
Yeah.
Which is that Mortal Kombat days back in the early 90s. And to your point, the implementation on the purchasing side, it's weak, right? I think you and I, when we're about there buying games for our kids, your bunnies and your friend's kid, we'll be more cognizant of that. But like back in the day, like my mom had, it's GTA. Oh, it's okay. She's just like, oh, it's a game. Like 5 years ago, games were Super Mario Brothers. Why would they be any different? And then, I'm doing something that would put me in jail in a game.
Yeah.
That, I mean, jumping on mushrooms isn't that illegal, but in some countries it is.
Depending on where you do it nowadays.
Yeah. But, yeah, so it's important. I'm glad you made me talk about it because, I was ready to skip over it. So Activision.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. But as far as like microtransactions in games and companies, having to stray away from that, they can go in either new routes of capitalizing on the franchises they already have or moving on from them, like Naughty Dog has talked about, or shoot out a bunch of remakes. So if you want to go over all the remakes you probably found in rumors.
You're ready to be the host. I'm going to step away. I'm going to put Plutarch in my place, and then you could just take the next episode because that was beautiful setups for transition. That was like T-ball right there.
Yeah, I gave you 3 different routes to take.
Yeah.
Trying to draw a little web here on our Excel sheet.
Well, I'm going to go with the Naughty Dog one since that was top of my mind.
That's pretty big.
One thing it is, but I will say this. First off, we watched the first 2 episodes of The Last of Us. It's good. Brianna's enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Have you watched it yet?
Yes.
Okay. Do you like it?
I like the show. I like the actors,
Yeah.
we already talked about The Last of Us, so you know where I stand with it, but I wanted to know, did you play the games?
No, we talked about this. You stopped where you got to the clickers. I stopped because I want to play a game that's a game and not a TV show. But now that it's a TV show, I can just watch it instead.
Yeah, people still are. I mean, I know people love this series, they love this game, but they were engrossed in it. It's just a different pacing for me that I'm not willing to dive into anymore.
Yeah.
But for me, literally, like I literally fell asleep playing the game at the part when you get to the clickers, which was in the second episode. Okay.
Yeah. And Boston.
Ironically, my wife also was like falling asleep around the same time. I was like, hey, this is where I fell asleep in the video game, in the first episode. But I was very surprised that sales jumped up like 350%. I mean, if sales are low to begin with, it's easy for something to jump 350% because people are watching the show. And I was just thinking, there's nothing in this show that makes me be like, oh my God, I really would love to just hold a controller while watching the same exact thing. Like, I was surprised how it jumped so much. Maybe it's just people, hey, like, oh, this is cool. This is a video game. Like, I never knew. That's surprising that they even found it on HBO Max then.
Yeah.
Because like a show like, okay, this is what is the name of that movie? You're not going to get this on your jumping mushrooms. What's the name of that movie with Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt where they die every single? No, that was the tagline for it.
No, that's literally what they ended up renaming it to because the original name was confusing, so they named it to Live, Die, Repeat. If you want to buy that, like
Die Tomorrow or something. It wasn't Tomorrow Never Dies.
This was one of those movies where they changed the name. Live, Die, Repeat. Edge of Tomorrow was the original title, but Live, Die, Repeat is the actual title now. Wasn't
Live, Die, Repeat like a direct translation of the original graphic novel that it was in Japan or something? Like it was Kill Out Kill or something?
Maybe, yeah.
Anyways, Edge of Tomorrow. Okay, that's a cool name, but doesn't really. Okay, now if there was a series that came out of nowhere called Edge of Tomorrow, and in the first episode you see that crazy stuff, and then you find out, hey, that's also a video game, I would be like, I want to play that video game. Look how crazy this is. And like, you like jumped out of the ship and they landed, I'd be like, oh, this is a video game. I want to play that. And I was just surprised that people watched The Last of Us and was like, oh my gosh, I would love to literally hold a controller and watch the same exact thing, not really engage. I know later on, and it's psychotic, or, it's a psychological bender, the whole game.
Yeah, I got to say that.
But I was just so surprised about that.
250%, I think. 258% is, I think, what it jumped. So I guess, to your point, I would say I am not surprised. But I would also say you're right that you're not the characteristic that went out and bought it. It was people who have a PlayStation, who have a PS5. It was that probably, I have Call of Duty, I don't need anything else, bro. But this show, not only is it setting records because of this stat we're talking about, but I think it's the second best show to launch on HBO in the last decade.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. That Game of Thrones doesn't, I think Game of Thrones is older than that, but that to me is like HBO is having success with it. And so this has a wider grasp than the game world ever would cast. And I think that's it. And listen, they remade that game for the PS4. And then about 4 months ago,
they did a remaster.
They did a remaster of the remaster for the PS5. And now you know why. Frankly, I think it was a smart decision because it's like, oh, if I have a PS4, I can get a PS4 version. But if I have a PS5, I'm going to go get that new version, which I don't know what the
$70 price tag, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know what the new, I don't know
or what's remaster remake.
Yeah, I mean, again, they knew what they were doing, which to that point, I know we want to talk about the main part of Naughty Dog here. But they've talked about how they're remastering Horizon Zero Dawn, the first one for the PS5. Even though the first one still runs with upgraded PS5 performance patches. To me, it makes me think they're doing something else with Horizon Zero Dawn with some type of entertainment platform that we don't know about, like a TV show or movie or something like that. If they're working
okay, so you think... Okay. Yeah, I see. I thought Horizon was already in the works through like Amazon or something.
It might be. Maybe that's it. And then this is why you have a remaster coming, because it's going to have the same effect, right? And marketing language, this is
more for us as long as it's good. Cool. Go ahead, make your TV show. I'll watch it.
Yeah, and in a marketing paradigm, this is what you would call a tentpole event, which is like there's a bunch of. From a Google search perspective, this word is now more popular than it's ever been in the vertical of games alone. It's now past that and in parlance at the water cooler talk in the office, right? And so because of that, it just carries a lot more equity, and it's going to have an effect. And that matters when we talk about the Switch article below this I want to get to. But to get to the main story,
the main point of this,
Neil Druckerman was in the news a few weeks ago and we talked about this. He said, I think that as much as I love the type of narrative approaches I've taken with my last games, I think something like Elden Ring and how it's, non-linear world exploration, focus on player agency, that's the future of games. I want to move in that direction. He announced, or it seems like in a BuzzFeed article, I want to say, that they're done with Uncharted. Uncharted 4 is done with. So, I've never played it, but I like the movie. And that they may in fact be moving on with The Last of Us. So there may be no Last of Us Part 3, which
I think the official wording of that was Naughty Dog pretty much said if they come to us with a good story and it's something they would want to make, then they'll consider it. But so far they'd like to step away and move on to something brand new, which Naughty Dog, everything they touch is gold. So
yeah,
it's cool that they're just like, hey, we're going to move on to something new. And everyone's just like, whatever they do is going to be banger. So let them do it,
Yeah. And there's a part of me that says that's good because I think giving some breathing room to even something like The Last of Us and Uncharted is not only good for Naughty Dog, but it's good for those franchises as well, because you're not going to drain them too much. So, yeah, I mean, what about you? Were you looking forward to a new Last of Us or Uncharted?
No.
Okay. Yeah, me neither. So yeah, this doesn't make us sad.
Dude, I think Uncharted 3 was the turning point for me.
When you stopped liking it?
No. Well, those kind of no. I think Uncharted, no matter what, is great. I think that was the first time I played a game this came out after Skyrim. I don't think it was the same year. I'm not trying to get exacts here, but 2011 is when Skyrim came out, November 11th.
Yeah.
And I was thinking it was that Christmas, if not the next one, that Uncharted 3 dropped. Okay, it was in December. And I was so excited for this game, and it was cool. It's super cinematic, and I remember bragging to other people, like, or not bragging, but like gushing to other people about, like, it's like you're playing in a movie. It's absolutely insane. Like, there's this one part where you're running out of this place as it's catching fire, and you're like and it's insane. And the whole plane cargo sequence was in that game. But like, I beat the crap out of that game in like 6 hours.
Yeah. Okay.
And I didn't go through and get all the billions of collectibles or play like the online mode I think they tried to launch with that one. But like, I played through it in 6 hours, but I was like, I thought I was going to play this for 2 weeks, just like sprinkle it here and there. I thought it was going to be a long story, but I played it through, I think it was 6 or 8 hours, but it was pretty much almost one night.
Okay.
And like, that's where I was kind of like, man, it was like short, but it was like playing like a movie the whole time. And I think it was like after that's when I started to like not like those games. Yeah, it was just not as long and not as variable, I guess. I don't know.
So,
but I remember that one specifically.
They made
so cinematic.
They made 4 after that, and then they made the more recent one that was like a spin-off. But yeah, I think it's interesting because from a game taste perspective, games have gotten really big, and now there's a desire to get back to those games being a bit more shorter and succinct, right? But yeah, I can see how that can be a burnout factor. I have access to the original games remastered for the PS4. Maybe I'll go to them one day, but there's too many other good things. So I think to your point, I mean, Naughty Dog, they were the original Crash Bandicoot team, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, they don't own Crash anymore, but I think it's interesting that they're announcing this right after right after Neil said, hey, I'm interested in how people tell stories in something like Eternal Ring. What if they put their resources in
Eternal
Elden Ring? Gosh darn it. It's August. It's 2025. And
Returnal or Elden Ring? Yeah, pick one.
Elden Ring. And I think it'd be interesting if that's a hint at all to saying, hey, our next game is going to be a big step away from what we've traditionally made. And I'd be excited to see that just because of how much quality they put behind their work. They're not going to put something out there that's at the very least unpolished. So I'd be curious to see what they do.
True. Yeah.
Oh. But in that same conversation, talking about movies or TV shows boosting games, I did want to switch towards the Nintendo talking points for the Game Bites podcast, as I have in the spreadsheet. There's a lot of things here, but I think starting off, one, there's an article that came out with Bloomberg, I believe, and a few other places that the Nintendo company is increasing their production of the Nintendo Switch. So it tells us a few things. One, we're not getting...
They're not moving on.
Yeah, we're not this year. But I think they see pent up demand still that hasn't been met. And on top of that, that tells me that they see a lot of demand coming for this year, which makes sense. You get the new Zelda game.
That's good.
Yeah, and it's a Zelda game that's being solely made for the Switch, which I heard the other day they patented a new technology specifically related to Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom, to improve how objects appear with distance in regards to just that game in general. So this is a game being completely made for the Switch from the ground up. Performance-wise, it should be pretty good. But yeah, you have that. You have all these other games coming down the pipe that we know about. But this is the interesting thing. People have been talking about a new Mario game for a while. Not a Mario Odyssey game, but like a new Mario platformer, traditional platformer. And there's talks that we might be getting that this year to coincide with the launch of the movie. Which makes sense if you think about what just happened with The Last of Us. Now, what I've heard about this new game is that it's not going to be in the vein of the new Mario Brothers that have been around since the Wii. So for over 10, almost 15 years now, they've been doing that new version. It's supposedly a different approach to the classic Mario, but you might hear about that soon. And it tells me that they have at least something else up their shoulders. So we have a new Nintendo Direct that's also rumored to come in February, which is exciting.
A Nintendo Direct. When was the last time? When was the last one?
I'm not exactly sure, but they always do one in February. So this isn't like a big groundbreaking piece of news, but At the very least, there was some data from the Nintendo e-commerce shop basically showing that IDs were changing on a couple games, and that, you know, they typically do that when there's changes in terms of how the game's going to be. Is it, you know, purchasable or not, or can you pre-order it? And one was Tears of the Kingdom, the other was Advance Wars. Which, did you ever play Advance Wars back in the day? So
No.
you would like Advance Wars because it's a tactics game. It's like Fire Emblem, but with, you know, guns and tanks and planes. And it's very streamlined. And this is a remake of the first one and the second one that came out on the GBA back in the day. I played both of them back in the day, and it was originally supposed to come out like earlier last year, 2021, 2022, but it was postponed because of the war breaking out with Russia and Ukraine. So Nintendo's like, hey, we don't want to make a game about, you know, invading countries. It's a very cartoonish game. Like it's very it makes Fortnite
like Worms Armageddon cartoonish, or
I mean they're humans, but in a similar fashion. They're very cartoonish. So that also was changed on the e-commerce store, this specific ID. So it seems like you might get that game soon. That game's been ready to go for a long time now. And so there could be a lot of things happening. So this coinciding with the fact that they're increasing production, I say all of it to say Nintendo's probably going to have a giant year still, and they might end up having the best-selling console of all time at the end of this year. They're like at 115,000 or 115 million, I want to say. So they're kind of banking on getting the most they can out of this system. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on a new Mario game?
I liked Odyssey. I'd get it.
Yeah.
It's not like the Switch is crowded or saturated with games right now like I am with the PS5. So if something came on with the same scope as Odyssey, I'm just talking about the sheer size of the game, I'd probably be interested in it.
Yeah. I think they're going to save the true sequel to Odyssey for the new system. Like that's a system thing you would want to launch with.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, I do think, and as this article says that we're talking about that, we might be getting Advance Wars shortly. We might be getting a new 2D Mario at the very least shortly, and a handful of other things. There's talks about a new Metroid remake as well. So this is unconfirmed, but comes from people that have leaked other things of, you know, truth before. But it looks like we could be getting a remake of one of the GBA games as well. So
that would be awesome.
Not related to Metroid Prime 4. That's supposedly still in the works as well. So we're not sure yet what's that, but there's also talks that a brand new Metroid game is in the works as well for 2025. So at the very least, Metroid Dread was successful. This isn't a surprise. They're going to make a new one. So that could be something you see on the new console as well. I do want to take a moment and talk about some things that people are mentioning in the chat. Alex, did you have any closeness to the GoldenEye back in the day? The GoldenEye. I shouldn't have to paraphrase it with anything else. GoldenEye.
Yeah, I don't have to specify that you're talking about the Sean Bean movie or the fact that it's like a Nintendo 64 game.
Did you play it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was the one that they always invited me over to play it just to have someone to whoop on. But no, I never. My older brother, I was too young to like play the N64. Not play the N64, but it was my older brother's, and he could easily like shove my head through the door to get me out of there and not play it. But I've played it, you know.
No. Yes, I mean,
what are they doing? Remaking it or what?
Well, so Activision remade it. Activision remade it in 2010. And
is this what the whole acquisition is really all about?
Yeah, it's about GoldenEye. So Activision made a Call of Duty meets GoldenEye game back in 2010, which I got it for the Wii. I really don't remember it. But they eventually ported that to the 360 and the PlayStation 3. I just remember
all the side-by-side comparisons of the graphics and the locations and the effort.
Yeah, and then after that, Rare Games, which was purchased by Microsoft back in the Xbox 360 days, I believe, they were working on a Xbox 360 HD remake for GoldenEye, like a separate from the Activision game, like a true remaster of the original game. And Nintendo naturally has rights to that because of it launching on their console originally, and they stepped in and supposedly they prevented it, right? So all this aside, about 6 months ago, Nintendo finally announced that, hey, GoldenEye is coming to the Nintendo 64 online emulation platform on our Switch. And on top of that, Microsoft said, hey, it's coming to us as well. So there's a lot of conversation going on right now. One, the online gameplay is only available on the Switch version. There is no online gameplay on the Xbox version, which is a bummer.
Yeah.
Because the Xbox version, at the very least, they did revamp the controls. And there's a logic to what happened, but it's also, I think, disrupting some people's tastes and experiences. So, for one, do you have the expansion pass on your Switch Online where you get all the old consoles?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that.
So, I mean, historically, almost every game that's come out has taken advantage of the original controls. And Nintendo released this guy. Got it. They released this to go with the launch of the 64.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
they essentially brought a ROM of GoldenEye onto the Switch with, some widescreen features. But because that online emulation platform has already opened up the opportunity for you to play online multiplayer on all kinds of classic games like Super Mario Brothers 3, all that stuff, it was real easy to do that with GoldenEye, right? So it's the same network infrastructure that's connecting you to other people with Switch. Xbox didn't see the reason to do that, but also because of them desiring to use this and stay true, they launched it with the same controls. And for people to play that on the original Switch, if you don't have this, it's grating. I mean, you remember doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
People would have to like hold the controller completely differently to play it.
Yeah. And this is where I think at the very least Xbox did some good work. They upgraded the controls so it plays like a normal first person shooter. And even to where if you remap the buttons on the Switch to just work like a normal first person game, the way you would zoom in is still very much under the impression that you're playing the traditional way. So it moves the controller in ways where Xbox definitely seems to have a better out of the box playing experience than the Switch, but the Switch has more of an authentic take if you want it, but also it's the only place you can play online. So that happened this Friday. Yeah, this Friday came out like late Thursday night. They finally released it. And I imagine there's been some talks about this, but this is probably ready for a while too. There's been some talks that just like Advance Wars, since this is a game that deals with Russia and all criminal and all that stuff, that when they originally had this ready to go, they might have held off on releasing it when they did because of the same rationale for Advanced Wars. So yeah, we can play some GoldenEye together if you want.
On the Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll take me right back to my when I was a kid and got bullied via video games. Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it probably did you some good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and your
I'll turn up some stones.
Put down your bunnies and get shot by Oddjob. Come on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't have a colorful, not history, but future after that game was made either. Or
What?
no, I'm thinking of
The actor?
Random Task. Yeah, the actor who played Random Task in Goldmember. Or not Goldmember. Goldmember. The Austin Powers movies.
Oh, yeah, now we're switching. Now you got the Random Task.
Yeah, sorry, that was completely... It's literally the parody character of Oddjob.
What happened to him? Is it okay to talk about? What did he do? No.
Violence and jail time and stuff like that. Yeah, don't...
Oh, yeah, we're good. Moving on. Anyway, so yeah, GoldenEye came out. I yet to touch it. I've been focused on other things, but I played a lot of that game. Proximity Mines was my go-to. Like I put Proximity Mines everywhere, and then when someone would walk through that doorway, they were dead. It was all karate chopping people.
Not spawn camper, but just camping.
Oh yeah,
you pitched tents back in the 90s.
I will say that a lot of the time playing with my family in my basement, it would turn into like actual fist fights too afterwards. So it was an edifying experience.
At least 2018. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, college was rough. So, but yeah, so GoldenEye came out. That's what's going on with this Switch. We're going to get a new direct most likely in February. Again, what it's all going to consist of, who knows? I don't think it's really going to be a lot on Tears of the Kingdom. I could see them doing dedicated events just to talk about what Tears is.
Isn't it like a month away from that? Is Tears in March or May?
May. Yeah, gosh. May.
All right.
3 months away.
But it's not a month away from the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I could see them doing dedicated stuff on that. It's be interesting. But yeah, new Metroid. I mean... Oh, so here's the other thing too. I know Fire Emblem Remake is on the list as well. Fire Emblem Engage came out. We'll talk about that in the next section. But there's also talks of a remake of Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War, which is a game most people have never played. I think most Americans never really started playing Fire Emblem until the GBA days.
Yeah, those are the ones I played.
Yeah, Fire Emblem has a longer history. Like the original one was on the NES, and this one specifically was a Super Nintendo game. And the reason why there's talks about it is, again, some data leaks that suggested project titles where Three Houses was like 117 and Engage was 119, and people were like, well, where's 118? Part of me goes, is that Three Hopes? Wasn't there a Fire Emblem Warriors game? But maybe they don't categorize it the same way. But Sigurd, who is the main character in Genealogy of the Holy War, has a prominent role in Engage. And so they could possibly see it as an opportunity of like, now that we're introducing people to these classic characters that you might never have seen before, here's a chance to play a remake of the game they're from, right? So I think there's talks about playing the game that Roy is originally from as well. So I'll take Fire Emblem's good. It's a good game.
Or Fire Emblem.
Yeah. I like my tactics games. It gives me reasons to talk about something else between Mario and bed. So my wife appreciates that. So so that's Nintendo news. I mean, I'm excited for February. I think this year is going to be an interesting one. I think we're probably going to get some games
saturated.
It's
so many games.
You know, there's a lot of games coming out, but at the very least, I'm always a fan of first party content from Nintendo. I want to check it out, right? Similar to Naughty Dog, they don't typically put something out there that is trash. So unless it's Pikmin, let's be honest.
What was this thing here? This last one here, line 22, Fire Emblem Engage Lazy. What is that about? Or did you not want to go into that?
I don't want to go into it specifically, but there's been general discourse about the game. You know, so I'll take a step back and talk about something bigger, where a lot of times in this great country, we're given the opportunity to say whatever we want, which is great because that prevents a authoritarian slap in the face just for speaking out of line, right? But I still think a lot of times in gaming specifically, we get to this point where we talk about something that we truly don't understand or know. Like, for example, I was watching and this topic comes from a YouTuber I was watching where some guy was complaining about Square remaking a certain game and saying it's a waste of resources. And the guy's like, how is it a waste of resources? They're making the game and they're making this new game too. Like, if it's a waste of resources, they wouldn't make it. But also, you're not managing the team. You're not involved in terms of whatever the vision is and anything at all. So maybe that perspective, while what you're really saying, it's not what you want, which is fine, but it doesn't mean that they still can't do both. It doesn't have to be an either or in this situation. And I just know with Fire Emblem Engage, there's a lot of fans that they're really happy with what they did with Three Houses and there's new characters. I think Engage is smart because they're bringing back old characters, and they're bringing back old characters that most people don't even know. And they're doing it in a very purist approach to Fire Emblem. It doesn't have all that what I'll call bloat that Three Houses had, that persona bloat. And I think it's smart for them because Fire Emblem is an important title to Nintendo. It's a title that they want to grow, and I think if they're going to grow it, the way you do that is get people interested in the legacy. That's what's going to happen with a game like Engage, and you also open the door for internal incentives to make new games as well. So there could be this perception that, I don't know, you're just reusing stuff, right? But at the end of the day, I think it's a very smart perspective to do the game this way. And I'm sure Nintendo does too. I'm sure the team that's making Fire Emblem already has something else in the works as well.
Probably planned for years, yeah.
Yeah. And we'll get into things like this story and all that as well. But then we get through the news first. Is there anything else? Oh, here's what. I texted you this and you ignored me. Hi-Fi Rush, Microsoft Developer Showcase. Do you know anything what's going on there? You just don't care. You're a Sony boy. You and your Sony and your Nora. You're not.
Sony boy. I got a tattoo on my lower back that says Sony. Yeah.
That's a Sony boy. It's a Sony and
It was
Naratu.
supposed to say Sony, but they mixed it up. Or Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Syracuse. But yeah, no, I do not know what Hi-Fi Rush is, and I'm gonna have to look back at my text messages if I didn't already delete you from my phone to find out what you're talking about. All these
Yes.
accusations are flying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what I will say is if you delete me from your phone again, not my fault this time. So so Microsoft had their developer direct last week or this week, I want to say, and it was known it was coming for a while. I thought about streaming it. I thought about, even watching it. I didn't, but I read about it. A handful of things that weren't surprising about it, right? There's a new Forza Motorsport coming out supposedly first half of this year. It might be second half as well. I'm more of a fan of the Forza Horizon games that are more arcadey. The Motorsport or like the Gran Turismo approach to the Forza series, which people like, but yeah, I'll take arcade any day. It's like the Need for Speed meets open world aspect of the franchise. It's actually really, really great. Forza Horizon's a great game. If you like racing games if you like Burnout Paradise, but better, it's Horizon.
Is it very anime-y? Like this thing, the screenshot you sent me here, or the
Hi-Fi Rush, yeah, Hi-Fi Rush is. So they had a handful announced. There's a new Minecraft game coming out, Minecraft Legends, which is a tactic game, which I think again Minecraft is huge in popularity, and so there's probably opportunities to make different genres that will fit into that. Like, hey, there's like 1 billion people that like this game. I bet there's about 5 million that like a tactics game. So let's do a Minecraft tactics game. That's coming out this year. One of the big things that surprised everyone is Tango Gameworks, makers of Evil Within 1 and 2, and also Tokyo Ghostwire, just shadow dropped a brand new Microsoft exclusive game called Hi-Fi Rush this week. And I would describe it as Devil May Cry, but rhythm game.
Okay.
And
that explains the guitar.
Yeah, it's got a lot of, what's the word? A lot of original soundtracks from the early 2000s, like Nine Inch Nails, all kind of stuff like that. And it achieves rhythm in a way where it doesn't punish you, but it rewards you if you get the rhythm right. Everyone's saying like this might be one of the best Microsoft games of all time now. Like Microsoft doesn't have a lot of exclusive games, more so a lot of exclusive new IP games. And so for this to happen just completely out of nowhere, people are really excited about. I have yet to touch it. I downloaded it today, but I'm a fan of Bayonetta and Devil May Cry, and I love rhythm games. So yeah, I sent that to you. It has aesthetic wise, it reminds me of both Jet Set Radio and Sunset Overdrive. So I love that aesthetics. Jeff Grubbs, who is over on Giant Bomb, he's like, it might be one of the most gorgeous games ever in terms of just using modern technology to achieve that type of representation. I'm curious. It's captured a lot of people. I've yet to do it. But yeah, so that's big news for Microsoft. I think they're excited. And Phil Spencer has come out and said, yeah, frankly, we just did not release enough games last year. So on top of that, they did confirm May 2nd is the launch date for the other game we were talking about last week. My gosh, the vampire game, not Red Dawn.
Red Falls.
Something Falls. May 2nd. My gosh, 2023. Red Scare. No. I'm done. I quit.
That was it. Where's the towel? I don't see no towel.
Redfall. No, Redfall. Read something. Yeah. Read something. So that is coming out May 2nd as well. So it seems like this year you might see a lot of high quality first party Microsoft games coming to Game Pass, which I think frankly is a good thing after a year that, hey, Game Pass had a lot of great games, but none of them are really Microsoft. So this is the big incentive. Like, imagine if you had all of your PS5 exclusives just on your system with your monthly subscription day one, right? And that's the incentive of Game Pass. So yeah, I think that's been it. Most of the news. Here's the
Returnal.
Returnal. What did I talk about? Returnal.
You have it on the screen grab or the.
Oh well, that's the game I've been playing.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, okay, we're going there. Okay,
yeah, we'll get
Let's
there.
Return back to what we're playing.
Yeah, Returnal is coming out on PC soon though, and it is shocking some people in terms of Returnal and what's the game that just came out on PS5 that people were mixed on? The Square Enix game.
Callisto Protocol?
No. But it's surprising some people because Returnal has a very high RAM demand.
You're talking about Forspoken.
Forspoken as well, yeah. Forspoken had a very high PC demand in just in terms of the ultra performance section, and Returnal does as well. But yeah, Returnal, I've been finally playing a lot of it on PS5. I'm enjoying it. We'll get to that. I did want to talk about a handful of other things. Well, one more thing actually. Simpsons Hit and Run. Did you ever play this game back in the day?
No, I was too young. It wasn't allowed. It was Simpsons. I wasn't allowed to watch Simpsons. Sorry.
Really?
I think so.
This was on the Xbox GameCube generation.
Yeah, that checks out.
Okay, so Simpsons Hit and Run was a open world GTA version of Simpsons.
Yeah, that's probably why I wasn't allowed to play it.
I mean, it didn't do everything GTA could do. I'll leave it at that. But it was a great game. And recently, this is on gamingbible.co. They are re-releasing the album. And for a long time, people have been wanting a remake of that game. I think that game would be amazing if they remade it. It was a great game. If you were a fan at all of The Simpsons and you liked interacting with, if you had a desire to interact with that world, this game did it justice, right? All the characters were there. It was developed well. The world was built well. You felt like you were in Springfield. The missions made sense with all the characters and how they behave and all that, So, but people are hinting that a remake's been coming for a while. And the fact that you're now seeing a republishing of the album, people are like, well, what else are they possibly working on behind the scenes?
Why is there effort even for this right now?
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of that idea. But speaking of things that we're fans of, we can go to what we're playing. Alex, what have you been playing? Not Naruto. Get that Naruto out of here. Chat, if you think Alex has too many Naruto figurines, let us know in the comment section. Go ahead, Alex.
This is only a third of them. The rest of them are in the living room.
So, two things then. One, I want you to say vocally how many hours of Marvel Snap you've played so everyone can hear it as a follow-up. And two, one day you'll have to take a photo of all of your Narutos and post them in the Discord.
I can do that.
Okay.
159 hours.
That's it?
Yeah, that's average. Dude, that's 12 a week for 13 weeks.
12 hours a week for 13 weeks. That's about as much as a college student works with their part-time job throughout college.
So there you go.
You could have worked more, Alex.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still enjoying it, right? And talking about transactions, have you ever spent any money on that game?
No.
Have you felt them nudging you in that direction in any way that's unfair?
No. The only thing that, and this is what's weird, is the only thing that would, in most predatory games, like predatory microtransactions, it's where you feel like, man, if I just spend this money real quick, I can save a lot of time, or I can get an edge in the gameplay. But in this one, I guess as you level up, it's kind of like a random thing that you're about to get.
Yeah.
It's never it's not guaranteed. It's not a high chance that you're going to get what you want. If you're like, oh, I want to get all the rest of the pool 5 cards, it's going to take weeks. It's not something that if I just drop, I don't even think you can drop that much money at a time to level up. No, I guess you can buy variants. Yeah, I guess you could. But you'd have to level those up with boosters, and if you can't play unless you get those boosters.
So you have to play first to get the
boosters. So I'm just saying, it's not like, oh, if I drop $50, I'll get 10 cards. Nope, it's not that.
Okay.
You'll just be able to level up some things and maybe get 1 or 2 cards. So the fact that it's not super, there's not a, it's nothing guaranteed. I don't know how to say it, but no, I haven't felt the need to.
It's like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh without spending money.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because it's kind of like everyone's working with the same cards. It's just how you play them and the fields that appear. Anyone could have, if they're just working with, I'll say it in terms of the game. Someone could be working with a destroy deck, and I could be working with a reveal deck. I know it doesn't make any sense.
No, those reveal decks are tricky.
Cards. Yeah, but they could have some great cards, cards better that I don't have, But just because of the fields that appeared, my reveal deck, and I just played just so happened by chance to play a card on a field ahead of them doing something else, you know what I mean? I kind of screw them over in hindsight, because another thing was revealed. I'm just saying it's pretty fair with the gameplay. If you lose because someone played like a card on turn 6 and it completely like makes all their scores go up to 100, you're like, well, I guess I could have seen that coming. I could have ran out of there.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying it's not like ever it's like, hey, $10, you'll get that card you want. It's not like that, which would be like super, hey, that can give me an edge. Or hey, that can get me somewhere faster. It's not that.
So you've gotten a lot of entertainment for free out of this game, which I think when we first talked about it, you were like, I don't want to do a mobile game.
That's the only, I was like, I'm not even going to bother if
Oh.
it's just one of those things that fuck you in. Now that is weird because I think I saw this week on the Reddit, some dude posted on Twitter or Reddit or something, their level was 22,031 or something. He reached the end. And his last card he got was Beast, and he's like, "Hey, developers, when are you guys going to increase this? Because like at this point, there's no reason for me to play." And the developers are like, "Oh, okay. Well, we didn't expect that. We're going to declare this a world first. We're going to increase. We'll give you more levels in the future." But like, people were trying to calculate like how many thousands of dollars would that have costed to get there, and I think someone did some very, very rough calculations. Like, man, if you could spend $50 to get the most gold and technically buy all of the variants so that you have no other variants available, it would be like 11,000 or something. Like, it's very rough because technically you could spend nothing and get all the cards instead of the random other loot.
Yeah, so you don't know how much was money and how much was time played.
Hell no, you don't. But yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I think that, or I think someone else on Reddit posted that this dude, you could only buy the new seasonal variants. There was nothing else left, which meant he already bought all the other ones. I think it was one of those two things.
I'm imagining it's like Ryan Reynolds bored one week and they're like, "Oh, this is cool," and
yeah,
I'm just gonna drop 11 grand. No,
yeah,
that's one of those things too. I've seen them do that with Diablo Immortal, where they were like, "Yeah, you could spend basically 6 figures to max out a character." You're like, "Oh, yeah." That's also something. Going back to like loot boxes. Like maybe there's a design element where you mitigate how much you would have to spend to potentially max out something as well. Like just like that to me, just not even a design element, but coming down to like, again, that whole AO conversation. Like, is there something you do with a rating to like just say, hey, this is a game that is going to, ask a lot of you if you wanted to. And I don't know. I want to spend.
No, if it got unfair because you can tell like, oh, these other people are spending money to get the only character available this season, and they're winning nonstop. If it was like that, I would stop playing. Yeah, but it's not like that yet.
Yeah,
well, people could be using like the new card and playing that deck, but there's so many ways to counter it. Like you're not getting stomped on.
Okay, so besides your 12 hours a week on Marvel Snap, what else have you been playing?
16 hours of Monster Hunter Rise.
Ooh, how are you liking it?
I don't think I can go back to World after this because the traversal is so much different.
Yeah.
There's verticality every direction, everywhere with your slingshot. I think it's like this wire bug, it's called.
Yeah.
And you get to ride a dog the size of a horse, and the dog fights with you. And you also have a little cat if you play by yourself that's also helping you. And it's just like super cool. But like, the fact that when a monster runs away, you just hop on your dog real quick and there's also like fast traveling and stuff like that. I think that you could fast travel to the camps in the other one. But like now I don't think I could go back to World and have to be like
running the entire time. Yeah.
For like 5 minutes, and then you hit him twice and he runs again because no one trapped him fast enough. But no, I really like Monster Hunter Rise. I think how you select the quests and the challenges and the multiplayer has been super easy. It's probably just because it just launched that I've never had an issue joining someone else's game. I've never had to select my own match, hope that someone jumps into mine. I just immediately jump into someone's and it counts as the mission towards my game. So it's been super easy to play with other people. Yeah.
That's good. Now here's a question. I don't recall, was Monster Hunter World difficult for setting up multiplayer back in the day? Did we have challenges? It's been so long.
I think it was a little convoluted. I think they optimized it after like a couple of months. I think it was a little convoluted though. Because I think when we were all in our own hub, we all had to go to like this waiting area. Then we all had to wait until you select I'm ready, which still exists. Yeah. But it's super easy to you to just join a random request.
Yeah.
But I do remember by the time we jumped into World, I'd be in the map trying to fight a monster, and I'd shoot a flare to like, hey, anyone come into my game? And it wasn't that common that someone did. I just still think it was a little convoluted for us to like invite each other to our games. And maybe it is in this one because I haven't actually actively tried to invite anyone, you know.
Okay.
But
yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
yeah,
I that's a series that I could see being a staple of mine in perpetuity for a long time. It's
moving forward,
yeah. Like it's just it's a type of game. Like there are a lot of versions of this type of game in Japan. Like there's Tukiden, Monster Hunter, all these other games. A lot of them were on the Vita, like God Eater as well. We're like, they're like, yeah, we got tons of these because it's such a big genre here. And Monster Hunter World made it very big in the West, and now we get that EA version that's coming out here in a few weeks to potentially compete with it.
Wild Hearts.
But I don't think anything can compete with Monster Hunter globally. So Wild Hearts would really have to change things. I'm gonna watch what happens there, but I'm not jumping into that. But yeah, Monster Hunter, I'm enjoying it a lot. Returnal. So you beat Returnal, right?
No.
And I'm just gonna leave this entire conversation. So I started Returnal back in 2021 and I never touched it again. And man, is it just an impressive game? Like House Marquee.
Yeah, no, it is.
Yeah, House Marquee made great isometric shooters for the Vita and for the PlayStation 4. Zombie Nation, Dead Nation, all of that. A lot of other games like Resogun was something I don't think. But this game takes a lot of what they've done really well and then just puts it in such a, I want to say story driven, but it's not a story in the sense of The Last of Us. It's very much like what is going on in this world. It takes advantage of the confusion that a lot of roguelike games will always present to you. Like, I don't know what the heck I'm picking up, but all right, now I'm losing health, but I'm also
where I'm going or how I ended up in this environment.
But it takes what is a common element in those types of games and it uses it in a way to add to the mystery of what's going on. And yeah, I sat down Wednesday. I had like a horrible stomach ache, and so I got done with work at like 4, and I just went down and like played for 3 hours. And my wife was leaving for work at like 4, and she's like, "Oh, you seem to have it real hard right now." And I was just like, "Hey, this is not an easy game, okay?"
You're crying and everything.
Yeah,
in the corner in a fetal position.
Yeah, Plutarch's licking my feet because he knows that's where I get the most sad. Yeah, so
what environment have you made it to? I'm
still in the first biome.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting further and further, and it is one of those games where the meta progression is real. Like do you know what enhancements they've done to the game since it came out? Like in terms of improving meta progression and just all the issues that are happening.
They released co-op and they released an endless mode, like an endless tower. And I did go in and try that stuff. It's cool. You like Returnal? Here's a ton more of it. It's great.
Yeah.
No, for that game specifically, I played that when we were moving apartments, and we leased the new one a month ahead of the other one. And I would move stuff over to the new apartment. I was playing like on a little TV and a single chair in the whole room, and the only other thing in that room was a hamster, but the rest of the apartment was empty.
Okay.
And I was playing Returnal, I made it just past or at the snow part. There is a big difficulty hike there that it was a wall that I could not overcome patiently. And at the same time, I had 6 other games available. So I was kind of like, you know what? I'm struggling with Returnal after playing it for 2 weeks straight. I'm just going to pop in something else. And I never went back.
Well, that sounds like a total loss, and I'm not surprised. So.
Yeah. And I tried to go back, and I was like, oh, the snow part. Because it's the only part. It's the first part of the game where you come up, and there's literally a fork in the path where there's 3 different ways you can go. And then the enemies, it's like I said, it's a big difficulty jump in the enemies and getting used to them. And it's always literally a gamble on what weapons you're even going into the fight with. So if you're used to one weapon most of the game and you don't have it, you're screwed, for at least that part.
Yeah.
But it has one of my favorite boss fights of all time. It's the boss fight in the jungly level. Because as you're getting close to it, you hear some really cool music. Sounds like Hans Zimmer is on the roof going hard, okay? And then you eventually, you're going through this whole jungle level and everything, and the music, you realize the music's getting louder. It's not just the soundtrack for the game.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to tell you. But I
Okay.
want you to fight that one because that was like one of the coolest boss fights I've ever. And it was one of the coolest boss fights.
That's a game that I've been thinking about streaming a bit more, and that's a game I may stream because it's a game you could come back to. Yeah, I actually would call my streams Live Die Repeat.
Peace.
I have a
Yeah, I was gonna say saying it's a stream you can come back to. I was just thinking of the main character and how that would sound like absolute hell.
yeah.
Because that is the point of the game.
That's the point of the game. No, it's a gorgeous game for what it is. It plays extremely well. It's fun. I love games like this. So I'm glad I'm finally spending some time to go back to it. I'm enjoying it. What else have you been playing besides Monster Hunter and Marvel Snap? Anything else?
That's it. I'm doing like the last couple of trophies for Crisis Core, Midnight Suns. Like I had those done in like 2 weeks and moved on to Monster Hunter Rise. I think I have to milk those a little bit while I do school and wait until I think Octopath Traveler is the next game.
February, about a month out now. Oh.
Yeah, but Monster Hunter Rise, it has a lot of grind to it if you want to. Like if you were like, oh, I want this certain weapon or this certain armor, you got to go out and kill that loot box that is a monster, and maybe it'll give you the pelt that you need or the scale that you need.
Yeah.
But the whole time you're playing a game and you love the gameplay, so
yeah. It's I'll take that over $5 loot boxes. Or
yeah,
like that to me is like there's something to the
game. That's the loot,
the challenge and the skill. Yeah, they're not screwing you over with that. Okay, yeah. So then, what else have I played? So this week's been interesting. This was the non-busiest week I've had since like September and of last year, and because of that, after I've got
that was 11 months ago. How'd you manage that?
This past September? Wait, what? I think I'm in August. Okay. Yeah, August. It's August,
folks. First free week in 11 months.
I hope everyone's having a great summer. Yeah, so when I get home from work, historically, it's been like, all right, I'm going to eat, take a break, and like watch a show or two, and then get back on my computer and work. And this week was very much like, I'm home from work. I'm done. Like, I can play Returnal. I can watch King of Queens or I can play my Switch. And I played a lot of Switch in my bed at night, and one being Fire Emblem Engage. I like Fire Emblem Engage. There's definitely a lot of weird fan service and aspects I'm just like, that's kind of strange, but all right. But the story itself is very general, but I think it works. I'm interested to see where it goes, and the characters are interesting to me. Again, I did not give Three Houses a lot of time simply because of the demand of everything else outside of the battle. But my gosh, is the game really fun in terms of battling? Like the different characters you get, there's themes to it that I really appreciate, both in the story and in the game. That I think I haven't played a lot of Fire Emblems, so I can't really speak to they're doing this is brand new or not. But it's just testament to like a good tactics gameplay. It's a lot of fun. Like I will always prefer a game that takes my constant attention, like Returnal, to a turn-based RPG or something like that, even though I like those games. But this is a game that I've had a lot of fun with as just a tactics game. It's not super fast paced. Yeah. I'm playing on normal gameplay mode, so what's the baseline setting? But I'm playing classic style. So if anyone dies, they're gone for good. Yeah, there's some risk to it. There's some people who I probably wouldn't mind if they died. But that's, I think
you're
that's
like, hey, go out here in the middle of the field. Trust me.
Yeah, I think that's why I put that's why they put it in the game itself, because they know that some of these people aren't going to land for everyone, right?
Insufferable.
Yeah, but the writing's funny at times. It catches me off guard, and I think a very classic tactics game way, like, hey, we got to have some dialogue between these people. I'm sorry, but I have to kill you, like, or something like that.
I'm sorry,
but
I still want you. I need you to get to a point in Returnal. There is one part that I want to see your reaction to it, and
that's it.
I want to talk about it.
Okay, yeah. Well,
so please get to that part. You'll know because you're going to text me and be like, "Dude."
Okay, yeah. I'll text you and say, dude, and then you'll ignore me for 4 days until you delete me from your phone again. It's classic.
And then we'll be on the podcast and we'll be like, oh yeah, I texted you about that, right?
Yeah, and that's gonna be next August, and it's gonna be like, I haven't talked to you in a year.
So I'm just saying, if you're getting into the controls of Returnal in the loop, keep going. Keep going.
Returnal is such a great use of the DualSense controller.
Mm-hmm.
Just in terms of the controller resistance on the triggers, the haptic feedback, it really uses it well. Like I said, that game is coming out on PC, I think, in a month or so. I think DualSense on your PC is fully compatible, but you still need the controller. So yeah, good on Sony with that device. But
is that the first game, or is it the only game that when it's raining in the game, it feels like it's raining on the controller?
I don't know if it's the only game or the first game, but that is a cool aspect of it.
It was so cool. Like Returnal was like one of the first games available on the PS5 when it launched, and that was like the thing that blew you away. You're like, dude, I can feel the rain on this controller, like the drips.
Yeah, it's funny because it's so sophisticated rumbling, DualSense, whatever they want to call it. And then I'm playing my Switch in bed, and the Switch rumbling feature has that HD rumble that like can be very sophisticated. But most games. I remember
playing it on the what's that? Was it 1-2 Switch?
Yeah, we were milking cows.
Count how many marbles were in the thing.
That was really cool. Yeah, that was genius. So like, there's a way you could implement rumble features.
I'm having a little party here tonight. You're invited.
This is why we're not.
But yeah, I should download 1-2 Switch.
So to that point, like it could be sophisticated in the Switch, but I was playing another game I'll talk about in a second, and like it was just like this loud like phone vibration rumble, and my wife's like, "What is that?" I was like, I could turn that off, but like, yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, so Fire Emblem Engage, enjoying it. I want to beat it. It might make me go back and play Three Houses. It might not. I do have Three Hopes as well. I want to try. I have, a Warriors.
I'm a Warriors fan.
You played Three Hopes
Golden State again, but yeah, Three Hopes is good. Three Hopes is awesome.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get to that. But for right now, Fire Emblem is the only game in that franchise I'm touching and Engage. And yeah, so it's good. So two other things.
You're engaged and touching Fire Emblem.
Minecraft Dungeons. So I will say this. I know that face reaction, it's fine. I played Dragon Quest Builders 2. I think I talked about this 2 weeks ago. That's great. It's great. It's a great game. I'm still getting to that when I have time. That's a game I could see myself playing for like a few years. It's a great game. I could see myself playing that on multiple platforms. But it made me go like, what about, it's just a fun game. It's Minecraft with purpose. But it made me go like, what about Minecraft though? Like, I never really gave it a chance, maybe. So I will say this, obviously all these games are free on Game Pass. Minecraft Dungeons free on Game Pass. I picked it up on the Switch. It is like Diablo meets Minecraft. Essentially, it is a Diablo game, but with Minecraft characters and world, right?
Okay. And
it's simple and fun.
Is it top down?
Yeah,
like a Diablo game?
100% isometric dungeon crawler, right?
Yeah.
It is a simple and fun game. It doesn't grab me like Diablo 2 or Diablo 3 in terms of story, or even in terms of how complex it is. I think it's very much meant for a wide audience, and it's very much meant for like online play with a lot of people. And I have a friend in the Discord who got me to try it. And yeah, I went through the main game once, beat it. But like Diablo, or like a lot of those games, the difficulty is progressing with you as you level up and all that. And like the loot you get corresponds to that. So there's a lot of incentive to go back to it. Here's what blew me away about it. I was playing it and it would say, I got an achievement. Then I got on my computer that night and my Xbox app dinged because I was getting Xbox achievements on my Switch from my Switch game. Like, so I did a little research. Regular Minecraft, Minecraft Dungeons, and Ori on the Switch gets you Microsoft Xbox achievements. And I was like, I know what you're thinking.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's cross-platform, cross-save, and so like it was just So like Minecraft Dungeons, I could play on my Switch with people on Xbox and like PC and all that, and we could all be in the same game together too. So it's, again, I don't think it got as big as they wanted it to. Oh yeah, if you just scared the heck out of me. I don't think it got as big as they wanted it to be, but it's a fun game that I think, if anything, I could see them doing something else in that style in the future. So Minecraft again is just, it's a money maker, so you seem so disappointed when I talked about achievements on the Switch.
Yeah. I mean, I just want them to do something eventually, because like that really does stop me from buying games if I have a choice. Because it's just like Pokemon, I'm used to that. Like I'm used to it never having achievements ever.
It's because you can't get Pokemon anywhere else.
Yeah, but I'm also used to, like, if I'm gonna take that on the road or something, Pokemon's an easy game to play on the road, but like I honestly wish I could get it on my Switch more so I could take it somewhere, but if it doesn't have the achievements, I really like trophy hunting on the PS5. I'd like to just have something like that on the Switch. It'll literally make me buy more games on the Switch if I had a choice, because I could play it in here rather than remote playing on my laptop, my PS5 in the living room.
You do that?
Yeah.
Okay. How's that work for you?
Sometimes. There's latency. I don't play it with games where I don't mind the latency. Like Midnight Sun's cool. There's like a 0.3 second latency, but it's not noticeable. But something like a Warriors game, I couldn't do that on a remote play.
Yeah. I think so I will say I did pick up Ori on the Switch too because of the same thing. So like I've never played Ori, but now that if I play Ori, it unlocks the same thing on my Xbox. Like there we go. So
yeah,
you're not
dude,
wrong.
both of those games are gorgeous and great. Have fun.
And they really made it run well on the Switch from what I've heard. So
they what?
The performance of that game on the Switch is supposed to be really impressive. Yeah.
That was my only experience with it, and it was flawless for me.
Yeah. So that, and then last but not least, Dead Space.
Oh, that would do a quick plug right there. My bunnies' names are Ori and Naru. Two of them. Because I love that game so much.
That's right.
Naru is like Ori's little caretaker that raised him.
Didn't Naru die?
I know those bunnies have a shelf life too, okay? You're not like, this isn't a spoiler alert, but yeah, they're alive right now. But Naru is not.
I'm talking about in the game.
I thought he's there in spirit. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's not like I named him Joffrey, after knowing how Game of Thrones went,
achievement. Yeah. I know. Because I've played the first Ori for like a second, and I know Ori's like mom dies, right, or dad dies in the very beginning of the game.
Same species.
Yeah. So I thought that's what you were talking about. Wasn't trying to make you feel sad about your pet rabbit dying.
No, it hasn't. It's still fine. It's still got another 2 or 3 years. She's old, but like
that's how I look at Plutarch.
Thinking like, oh, if I name her after a character that dies in a video game, I don't know what'll happen. No, she's still fine.
Can name all my dogs here on out Bambi's dad. Jeez,
or just Bambi. Bambi never dies.
Oh, that we see. But yeah, so yeah, that's. I feel like I knew that, but yeah, Ori was so long ago.
Dead Space.
Yeah, Dead Space.
Speaking of dead animals.
There's a lot of death. I tweeted this out earlier. No one can hear you scream in space, but my wife can. She's right upstairs. Okay, so I never played the first Dead Space, and I've mentioned this before. I'm not a big horror game guy. Like I played a good bit of Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I enjoyed it. I played a good bit of Resident Evil 4 on the Switch. I enjoyed it, but I got stuck at a point that I was just like, I'm gonna step away. But first off, this game is gorgeous. Dead Space Remake, I'm playing on the PlayStation 5. You can play it PC, PS5, Xbox Series X. It's a gorgeous game. But something about it, like I don't know if it's just me, if it's the fact that I have enough testosterone now, or what.
It's been a process.
Yeah, it's been a process. But I'm enjoying it, and I'm not screaming as much. But the game.
I know. I see why the testosterone.
Yeah, come on. It's a terrifying game. Like there's just parts in the game.
Ask you, like, do I have a false sense of what this game's about? Is it actually a horror game? And you're never mind. You're just reaffirming all of my thoughts.
So here's what it definitely does different than like Resident Evil. And this game I'm playing it on medium mode, so I'm not like playing.
I need what it does different from something like Silent Hill, because that's
ammo isn't super scarce. Like you have to be smart with how you use your ammo, but for the most part, every time I need to kill something, I can with my gun. Like I am not like I don't feel like I have to resource manage ammo that much. Now I only just got to my second gun and I really haven't used it yet. But what I love though is the way you're like have to take out these enemies. It's not like just shoot them in the head. Shooting them in the head does nothing. The first type of interaction you have, you basically have to target limbs, and you have like
Stop them from attacking you.
You have like a mechanic type of like drill gun, and you can turn it horizontal or horizontal or vertical. Like that's one of the ways you can switch it. And then you should shoot their legs and limbs. And like it added something to this type of game I didn't expect that I would enjoy. But like it feels really gratifying to take their legs out and then just stomp on them. And then just like you stomp on them, they blow up, and you get ammo. It's so
I
like
think you should say in this game at the end of every sentence, just
so we're clarifying. Yeah. But no, so I made it to chapter 2. Like I played it, like went for a walk this morning, made a big breakfast, and then I sat down
in the game.
Yeah. Played Dead Space for like an hour and a half this morning, and I was like, oh, I'm enjoying this more than any type of game of this type in the past. And story's interesting, the world's interesting. There are moments though where I'm just like, I'm glad Plutarch was laying next to me, because like it felt good to have him there. Because like, I'm like, this isn't that bad, and all of a sudden everything goes dark, and like something's right in front of me, but then something's right behind me. That's worse though
if he like does a surprise bark. I've had Mochi do that. It's just like tense and everything. She'll go, bah! Just like a random noise.
Yeah.
Cool. Now we both need poo bags.
Yeah. So what I would say is, if I can make it through this game, and so far I am on my own, maybe it's something you'd enjoy one day whenever it was on sale or something. Like I could see you, because it's a good game. Like
That's what I was saying. You're telling me the gameplay and the story building and everything is worth dealing with the terror. Like it's worth it.
Yeah, like I feel like I don't feel like it's you definitely feel like you need a lot of hope in a situation that doesn't seem like there's much hope. And at the same time, I feel like in those classic games where so much of the horror was projected onto you because you were just so weak and useless.
Okay.
Where I feel like the game, like you get powers, like I can move things with like magnesis. I can stun people and slow them down, and I use it to solve puzzles in the landscape around me, to slow doors that are going too fast I need to get through, so I could slow it down. So like there's a lot at your disposal to where it is definitely more action than I expected for a game that I thought was just like, again, Resident Evil's an action game for sure, but it is more survival. And to me, this is the right balance of action and survival for me, because I find myself feeling calm as I go through it. And again, if you ever go on Twitch, there's probably, I don't know if it's even there anymore. When I played Resident Evil 2 Remake on Twitch, I screamed a lot. And no, it's not happening that much. I'm like very angry as I'm playing it, actually. I'm like, freaking shoot you in the knee. Like I'm I'm enjoying shooting these things. Again, might be the medication, but
you're getting some sort of fix here.
Yeah. So it's good. I mean, I'm curious if anyone out there is going to play it. It's obviously brand new PS5 game. It's like $79, I think, or $69. $69. Yeah. $69. So yeah. Random question for you before we log off and say our farewells, and you have that party that I was never invited to.
I just invited you.
No, that doesn't count. You can't invite someone to a party right before it's about to happen, especially when we live more than 2 states away.
You've never had surprise parties before. Okay.
It's not. Listen. All right. I'm going to go drink eggnog after we get off here that I had for Christmas,
right,
just so you know.
With that one.
Yeah, I'm going for the jugular. Did you ever play the Wario Land games on your Game Boy or DS back in the day?
Man, I did have a Wario game. No, not the DS. There was a Wario game, I think, for the Game Boy way back when. Okay. And I was too young to understand what the hell was even going on, because I was thinking like, oh, it's Mario, but it was something completely different. It was a Wario game, but I just expected the whole left to right thing, and it really wasn't that. There was a lot of verticality to it, and I really think there was still like some sort of like Mega Man thing where you could go to different things. There was no order to it, but I remember being silly and stuff. But It was Wario though, yeah.
On the
If it
original
wasn't
Game Boy.
Game Boy, it would have been Game Boy SP, like that.
So Wario Land 1 and 2 and 3 did do a lot more than just being a classic platformer, where like they started to introduce a lot of like mechanics and special ops where you couldn't necessarily die, you would just lose your power. And yeah, it was definitely more Metroidvania almost than just a traditional platformer level-based game. Those games are some of my favorite games of all time. And it's not because I feel like he's my spirit animal when it comes to Nintendo creatures. A loud, large Italian that loves garlic and tends to be gassier than most people. That speaks to me.
That's me.
Yeah,
you're right.
That's me. But there's a game that just came out, and friend of the chat and community KMX here talked about it for a while. It's called Pizza Tower. It's only on PC right now. I hope they release it on Switch eventually, but it is like a love letter to those classic Wario games. Literally to the point where you're an Italian pizza guy, and the game's called Pizza Tower. I mean, they are saying, here, hey, look, this is what we're doing. Without doing it, we're doing it.
Yeah.
And it looks a lot of fun. I watched some people play it on Twitch. I got enough games right now. Like I said, I want to hold off to see where else it goes. But I just wanted to put that out there for the community. Like Pizza Tower is a game. If you're interested in those types of games, check it out. It's worth looking at. It really cool animation style. It looks challenging. It was I don't know if this guy was fighting a dough person that was also anthropomorphic, but some weird stuff happening. But I was interested. So that's it. Alex.
Yeah, I think I found it. Game Boy Color, Wario Land 3. That's the exact, I remember that exact cover. But even in the description for the game on Wikipedia, because I was looking through years, it even says more non-linear in structure than previous games. It was the first Wario game I ever played, because it was just like the one that was like, at the Record Exchange or something. That's what that store was called. But that's the game. That was my only Wario experience, but I remember just being confused. I was 10 years old, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, that
Where's all the Pokemon?
Yeah, I mean, Wario Land 3 might have been one of my favorite, to be honest with you.
That was the only one I ever played.
Yeah, they man, I want them to bring back more Wario. I really do. Man. I just they gotta if Nintendo releases a Wario game this year, the Switch is going to shatter all of their records that they're on the precipice of shattering. So watch
them instead just release the Waluigi game fully fleshed out and everything.
I think I'd be okay with that, to be honest.
I'm saying like that would probably do even more damage to the markets.
Well, instead of Luigi's Mansion, it's like
then
Waluigi's
Microsoft will be
prison.
Like, hey Nintendo, you looking good? You want to get acquired? If they release the Waluigi trilogy all this year, 2023. I know we only have 4 months left, but like, what if they did all 4?
I thought it was 2025. It is August though.
We're working on it.
Oh my gosh. Everyone in the chat, everyone in the community, listeners on podcast again. I didn't say this at the beginning because it was the worst introduction ever. I feel like I am not drinking any alcohol.
Hey, there's always next week.
I am apparently just deprived of oxygen in my brain. Better luck next week. Yeah, next week we'll talk. Friday might work. Actually, no, Friday can't work. It might be Saturday again.
No, that's already September. Just let me know.
Yeah, I know my wife is on a game show Friday night that I probably should support her on. So,
Family Feud in the basement.
It's kind of like Family Feud. There's a lot of blood.
Hometown IQ.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of violence, and it's family friendly. So yeah, it's very much. But no, she's gonna be on a show called Game of Favorites. A friend of ours, Peter. He's kind of a godfather in the mob, but he's also not. He runs a show on Twitch, and she's gonna be a participant. Last time she was on, it was very spicy. She said things I wouldn't have said, but I'm still happy she said it.
Oh, that's like anytime we play Quiplash, she's the one that's like the most.
Brianna?
She thinks we're playing Cards Against Humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. My gosh, dude. I mean, listen. I know you know me, and I have to imagine at one point when you knew the type of person Brianna is, and then she's like, I know Mark though, like how is this ever going to work out? When we were dating in the day and she used to tell me about like the random short stories she used to write in school, and I was just like, Like, I got some dark things that I've done that I have repented for, but my gosh, I've never once wrote that down on paper. And I was like, I think I'm going to marry you. And it's been 7 years. So
here's some cheese.
Here's the workout. All right. Well, I got Taco Bell and eggnog coming.
That is a wonderful combination. We should get off the stream immediately.
Don't worry on me. Alex, do you want to sign us off again, my friend? You had to sing last week. You forget.
I'm just going to say that same one, guys. Stay warm or stay cool and stay full.
All right.
See you guys next week.